You're asleep, completely out, drooling on your pillow, dreaming about something weird involving your old school and a talking fish. And somewhere outside, a leopard is walking past your tent. It stops. It can smell you, clearly. You're right there. You're warm, you're soft, you're completely defenseless, and you have absolutely no idea any of this is happening. And the leopard just keeps walking, doesn't scratch at the tent, doesn't investigate, doesn't do anything except disappear back into the darkness like you don't even exist. Now here's the question nobody asks. Why? You were the easiest possible target. You weren't standing still. That's a choice. You were unconscious. You couldn't run. You couldn't fight. You couldn't do anything. And it still didn't attack? That's not the predator being polite. That's not coincidence. And it's definitely not because your tent smelled bad. Well, maybe a little. There's a real answer here, and it involves sleep, smell, fire, ancient memory, and a survival system so old it predates the human brain as we know it. Let's get into it. Let's start with what a predator actually detects when it walks past a sleeping human. Because you're asleep doesn't mean you're invisible. A leopard's nose is roughly 40 times more sensitive than yours. A lion can detect scent from over a mile away under the right conditions. These animals are walking through a world that is almost entirely made of information you and I simply cannot access. So when a predator approaches a sleeping human, it's not flying blind. It knows exactly what's in that tent, or under that tree, or in that sleeping bag that you definitely haven't washed since 2019. It can smell your sweat, your breath, your food, your synthetic fabric, the bug spray you applied 3 hours ago, the soap from your shower 2 days before that. And this is actually the first reason predators ignore sleeping humans. You smell wrong. Not wrong like bad, wrong like completely unnatural. Every prey animal a predator has ever hunted smells like the landscape it lives in. Grass, mud, river water, other animals. The scent profile of a zebra makes sense. It fits. It belongs to the world the predator knows. You smell like a chemical factory had a baby with a fast food restaurant. Synthetic detergents, processed food, plastic, petroleum product, compounds that simply do not exist anywhere in the natural world. A predator's brain tries to match your scent to something in its database. Nothing comes up. And when nothing comes up, caution kicks in automatically. Not because it's scared, because in nature, unknown things can be dangerous. And dangerous things are not worth a casual investigation. But smell is only part of it, because here's something that changes the equation dramatically. For almost the entire history of our species, humans didn't sleep alone in the dark. They slept around fire. And fire does something that goes way beyond keeping you warm. It creates a boundary, a circle of light that most large predators won't cross. Not because fire physically stops them. A lion could walk through a campfire if it wanted to, but it doesn't want to, because fire is an anomaly, something that doesn't belong in the natural world at night, something that disrupts the darkness that predators evolved to hunt in. Leopards, lions, hyenas, almost all the major predators that would have threatened sleeping humans are crepuscular or nocturnal. They hunt in low light. Their entire hunting system is calibrated for darkness. Fire destroys that system. It creates unpredictable light and shadow. It makes depth perception unreliable. It removes the darkness advantage completely. So a predator approaching a human campfire isn't just approaching a sleeping person. It's approaching a disruption in everything it relies on to hunt successfully. And there's something else about fire that almost nobody talks about: smoke. Campfire smoke doesn't just keep mosquitoes away, it masks human scent almost completely. A fire burning between a predator's nose and a sleeping human creates a chemical wall of combustion byproducts that overwhelms the predator's scent detection entirely. You're not just sleeping, you're sleeping inside an invisible fortress made of light and smoke that your ancestors spent 2 million years building and refining. The tent you bought at REI for $90 is actually the latest version of a survival technology that kept humans alive through the Ice Age. Think about that next time you complain about the zipper. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because humans almost never slept alone. For the vast majority of our evolutionary history, sleeping was a group activity. Hunter-gatherer bands of 20 to 50 people, all sleeping together around the same fire, in the same space, breathing the same air. And this created something a single sleeping person could never create alone: rotating vigilance. Here's how it worked. Not everyone in a group sleeps at the same depth at the same time. Some people are naturally lighter sleepers. Some wake at the smallest sound. Some stay half alert even when they look completely asleep. Researchers who study modern hunter-gatherer societies have found that at any given moment during the night, in a typical sleeping group, someone is always in a light enough sleep phase to detect disturbance. Not deliberately, not as an assigned watch, just naturally, because human sleep depth varies within groups in exactly the right way to provide collective coverage. Evolution didn't give us a guard. It gave us a system where the guard rotates automatically through the entire group all night long without anyone deciding to do it. A predator approaching a sleeping group of humans isn't approaching 20 unconscious targets. It's approaching a distributed detection system that has been refined over hundreds of thousands of years. One person stirs, one person makes a sound, one person opens their eyes, and suddenly all 20 are awake. For a predator that relies entirely on surprise, this is a catastrophic risk. The math is terrible. Best case, attack fails, predator flees. Worst case, 20 humans who are now very awake and very unhappy about being woken up at 3 in the morning. We talked about genetic memory in the last video. The idea that 2 million years of humans hunting predators literally changed predator DNA. But sleeping humans add another layer to this. Because our ancestors didn't just hunt during the day, they hunted at night too. Ancient humans used fire to extend their activity into darkness, the predator's home territory. They set traps. They coordinated night hunts. They used the darkness that was supposed to protect predators against them. Think about what that means for a predator's genetic programming. For millions of years, the presence of humans at night wasn't associated with vulnerability. It was associated with danger. A predator that investigated a sleeping human camp and found out the hard way that humans are dangerous at night didn't pass on its genes. A predator that avoided human camps entirely, regardless of what was happening inside them, survived, reproduced, taught its genes to future generations. The result is something profound. Modern predators don't evaluate sleeping humans as easy targets. They evaluate human presence, any human presence, awake or asleep, as a situation to avoid. Not through reasoning, not through memory of a bad experience, through genetic. The wariness is automatic, preloaded, running in the background like software you can't turn off. You don't have to be awake to trigger it. You just have to be there. Here's the part that sounds backwards, but makes complete sense once you hear it. Being asleep might actually make you safer in some situations, not less safe. When you're asleep, you're not making noise, you're not moving erratically, you're not triggering the motion detection systems that predators rely on. Remember from our last video? Predators are wired to respond to specific movement patterns, the chaotic, unpredictable movements of prey and panic, the sudden sprint, the desperate turn. A sleeping human produces none of those signals. You're a warm, still, quiet shape with a very strange smell and what appears to be a light source nearby. Everything about that profile says unknown, unpredictable, not worth the risk. Prey animals don't sleep in the open. Prey animals don't sleep near fire. Prey animals don't smell like a combination of 12 synthetic chemicals. You're not matching any pattern that predators are programmed to pursue. Now, important caveat, everything changes if a predator is desperate enough. A starving predator, an injured predator that can no longer catch normal prey, a predator so habituated to humans that it's lost its inherited caution. In those situations, all bets are off. The famous man-eaters of history, the Tsavo lions, the leopard of Rudraprayag, the Champawat tiger, were all operating outside normal predator behavior, injured, desperate, or operating in areas where human habituation had eroded the ancient caution. Normal predator, normal conditions. You sleeping near a fire with other people? You are, statistically, the safest you will ever be in the wild. So, back to the tent. The leopard walks past. It smells something completely unnatural, a chemical profile that doesn't exist anywhere in its experience. It detects the residual warmth and light of a fire that was burning hours ago. Its ancient genetic programming, 2 million years of learning that human presence means danger, fires a quiet signal. Not worth it. Not tonight. And you sleep through all of it, completely unaware that your body, your smell, your fire, and 2 million years of your ancestors' hunting history just had a conversation with one of the most dangerous animals on the planet, and won. You didn't do anything. You were unconscious, but you were never actually defenseless. You brought an entire evolutionary history with you into that tent, and it kept watch while you slept.